The remarkable tale of a supernatural encounter is the experience of an eyewitness who was lifted to great heights, observing the planet Earth beneath his feet. He received powerful and universal knowledge from angelic beings who were not only spiritual entities, but had a physical form and were tasked with guiding the affairs of humanity. This is a story that was heavily censored, with its writings classified as dangerous. Today, new technology may unlock even more astonishing revelations. We are recovering texts that were consumed by fire. It is truly astonishing. The Book of Enoch may contain profound truths about our extraterrestrial past, and possibly also hold the key to humanity's future. These scriptures are believed to be set in a distant time, and it has been said that we will return to this planet, where there is a portal in the universe that promises the truth. This leads us to question everything we have been taught, because the evidence is all around us and the future unfolds before our eyes. We have never been alone. Located in Ethiopia, more than 2,100 meters above sea level, on the side of a mountain, is the Abi Garima Monastery. This temple houses one of the oldest and most remarkable treasures of Christianity, the Garima Gospels. They consist of 2 illustrated volumes dating back to the 6th century of the Common Era and are considered to be one of the oldest and most complete Bibles in the world. The churches of Ethiopia are among the oldest in Western civilization and religion. Ethiopia's biblical connections date back almost 3,000 years, to the 10th century BC. King Solomon, who built the first temple in Jerusalem and guarded the Ark of the Covenant, was visited by Queen Makeda of Ethiopia, also known as the Queen of Sheba. It is said that the Queen of Sheba had a relationship with Solomon that resulted in a son. When the child desired to meet his father, with the blessing of his mother, he traveled to meet him. After some time, some leaders of the Hebrew nation returned with him to Ethiopia. This connection between the Queen of Sheba and Solomon gave rise to a significant Jewish population in Ethiopia, with many repatriating to the Holy Land of Israel from Ethiopia and neighboring parts of Africa. Ethiopia is an extraordinarily sacred place. The Bible used by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church is distinguished from other Christian Bibles in that its version of the Old Testament includes a controversial text known as the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch is an ancient and fascinating document that is only found in the Gu language, a form of the Proto-Ethiopian language, and contains over 100 chapters. In the Ethiopian faith, Enoch is recognized as a canonical text, something that is not the case in other traditions. According to the text, the author of the book is the Hebrew patriarch Enoch, who was a great-grandfather of Noah. Enoch is a biblical figure mentioned in chapter 5 of Genesis. According to tradition, Enoch never died. This idea arises from the verse that states that he walked with God and disappeared, for God took him. Although the Christian Bible barely mentions Enoch, the Book of Enoch, which is over 100 chapters, explores his story comprehensively. There is an enigmatic passage that details Enoch's ascension to heaven. According to the story, he was 12 years old, and his entire village was getting ready for bed when they heard a sound in the heavens. 2 angels descended, and one of them told him not to be afraid. Enoch was then taken to heaven in a chariot of fire, where he observed something on earth that he could not describe. In his words, he saw houses of glass and described the view of planet Earth below him. He himself recounts his arrival, mentioning how he passed through several rooms where he saw shiny surfaces and sparkling lights. This is the testimony of an eyewitness. I, Enoch, have lived it. The Book of Enoch is one of the earliest written accounts of human abduction and describes an experience that allegedly occurred thousands of years ago. If true, this astonishing encounter could have documented communication with beings from another world. Enoch is believed to have stood at the right hand of God and is actually considered God's scribe in some traditions. God decreed, and Enoch recorded what happened, becoming the guardian of all heavenly knowledge. This is one of the reasons why the Book of Enoch is so controversial. It is one of the most intriguing texts ever written, documenting visits by extraterrestrial beings. However, it is not the only one to record such experiences. Similar accounts have been found in several other ancient cultures, which reinforces the idea that Enoch's experiences were real. There are ancient texts that tell of people who ascended to heaven and then returned, such as in ancient Greece, with the story of Ganymede, who was kidnapped by Zeus Eagle, in ancient China, Samaria, and also in ancient Egypt. Oh, there are accounts of individuals being visited or taken up to the abode of the gods. While these stories are similar, none of them contain the same level of detail as that found in the Book of Enoch. Some scholars believe that because of its controversial content, this text was excluded from most versions of the Bible. These writings not only hint at the possibility of extraterrestrial life, but also present a very different perspective on God. The sages of the time considered the Book of Enoch too sensitive to include in the scriptures, resulting in many of its teachings remaining hidden. It is possible that Enoch's teachings reveal that not all of his encounters with angels were divine in nature. This is the secret that has been kept from the Ethiopian version of the Bible, according to ancient astronaut theorists. The Book of Enoch is central to an alien agenda that has influenced human history for thousands of years. They claim that this becomes most evident in the descriptions of beings known as the Guardians. In the year 1604 in London, England, King James I ordered the creation of a standardized English Bible to resolve a dispute within the Anglican Church. Today, more than 4 centuries after its publication, the King James Version remains the most famous Bible in history and one of the most published books of all time. The Catholic Bible has 73 books, while the Ethiopian Orthodox version comprises 81. But why were so many texts, including the Book of Enoch, excluded? There has always been an accepted literature that formed the basis of orthodoxy, while other works were rejected as not part of the biblical collection. Both the Old and New Testaments have apocryphal books. The word apocryphal means hidden, since the ancients hid writings from the public because they were considered dangerous. It is possible that the Book of Enoch was excluded because it revealed truths about human history that were considered unfit for common knowledge. Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that there are telltale clues in an Old Testament passage found in the Book of Daniel. In chapter 4, a group of angelic entities appointed by God to direct the affairs of humanity are mentioned. These angelic forces monitor our world and control the direction of civilization. Although the passage is brief, these beings serve the main purpose of the Book of Enoch, where they are described as divine watchers. In the English version, they are called the Watchers of Heaven or the Watchers of Heaven. In German, they are referred to as angels. This is not just a time of the past, but of modern times. We must now translate these terms into contemporary language. The word angel should be replaced by extraterrestrial. These angels were not spiritual beings, but very physical, and it is quite clear that the identity of the biblical angels does not belong to this world. They are extraterrestrials. According to the Book of Enoch, a total of 200 watchers descended to earth, and some of their names have been revealed to us. We know that they were guided by Shemasa and Assel, who later became known as Lucifer. These guardians were described as reapers and were also called the Shining Ones. In fact, when writing about them, Enoch mentioned that he could barely see them due to the brightness they emanated. For ancient astronaut theorists, the idea that the guardians were alien visitors is corroborated by the stories of the prophet Elijah. Like Enoch, Elijah also ascended to heaven in a chariot of fire. Elijah was a powerful prophet with abilities superior to those of other prophets. He used his garment or cloak of power to heal the sick and even raise the dead. One day, he ascended in a chariot of fire, a true chariot of the gods, while 50 other prophets witnessed his elevation. The Bible refers to it as a chariot of fire, but what was this vehicle really? A means of transportation that, in ancient times, could only be interpreted as a chariot of fire. Interestingly, the idea of the ascension of the soul is a central element of the Judeo-Christian tradition. There are several incidents in the Bible that narrate bodily ascensions, in addition to Enoch and Elijah, as well as Jesus and his mother Mary. But why, if heaven is a spiritual realm, did some people ascend physically? Neither Elijah nor Enoch proclaimed themselves to be prophets. It was the writers of the Bible who gave them that title. The reason Enoch is called a prophet is because of his experiences of being taken into space by alien beings. This narrative is similar to that of Elijah, since both are part of the larger concept of a poorly understood technology. If the guardians were, in fact, aliens, as theorists suggest, perhaps the ancient astronauts had. These were a plan for humanity. More clues may be uncovered by examining another text attributed to Enoch, which was nearly destroyed in 1947, 20 miles east of Jerusalem. At this ancient site in the Judean desert, Bedouin shepherds made an extraordinary discovery. The Dead Sea is surrounded by caves, and in typical teenage fashion, one of them threw a stone into a cave and heard a cracking sound. The next day, they returned to the cave and found huge clay jars containing ancient texts of incredible importance. Among these scrolls were copies of biblical manuscripts thousands of years older than any other known copies, as well as a number of previously unpublished documents. To the surprise of archaeologists, it appeared that those who preserved the Dead Sea Scrolls considered the Book of Enoch to be of vital importance, preserving 11 different copies, including versions never seen before. Among their discoveries were fragments of another work attributed to Enoch, the Book of Giants. Some parts of the Dead Sea Scrolls have been lost over the centuries, and many scholars believe that the stories contained in the Book of Giants reveal secrets that are still waiting to be discovered. The giants were mentioned even before the writing of the book that talks about the Nephilim, who are the sons of the Watchers. This text deals with their lives and conversations, revealing that they are described as evil beings. According to the account in the Book of Giants, the Nephilim committed atrocities, such as murdering humans and cannibalism. God then decided that the earth needed purification and chose a man to restart humanity, Noah, who was the great-grandson of Enoch. In the Bible, Noah is presented as the son of a shepherd named Lamech and his wife, Beth-Enos. He was chosen by God for his piety and blameless character. However, when the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered, religious scholars were surprised to discover a very different and possibly older version of the Noah story. This new version reveals that Noah was chosen before he was born, and that Lamech was not his father. When Noah was born, his father was away, and his mother noticed something strange about the boy, for he did not look like an ordinary human being. His skin was said to be so white that it seemed radiant, and his hair was white as wool. Lamech claimed that Noah looked like the guardians, and when he opened his eyes, he lit up the entire house. This did not resemble a normal human being, and Lamech told his wife that this could not be his son, since not even 9 months had passed since he had been away. Lamech then went to his father Methuselah for advice. Noah's grandfather suggested that he accept the child as his own and name him Noah, since the guardians had determined that Noah would be the father of future generations. This account in the Dead Sea Scrolls clearly describes a case of artificial insemination. Therefore, the real story of Noah is not that of a pious man chosen by God, but rather that of a human being genetically altered by extraterrestrials to restart life on Earth. Although the Book of Giants must contain more details about Enoch and Noah, we only have fragments of the full text. Recently, a new technology may reveal even more fascinating revelations. In Santa Barbara, California, on a February day in 2020, Rabbi Ariel B. Zad and George Zalos visit imaging expert Ken Boone. Ken has developed a revolutionary camera that captures photographs using multispectral imaging technology. Giorgio and Ariel are intrigued by the implications of this technology and eager to discover how effective it would be in recovering lost texts from the Book of Enoch. Ken explains that his multispectral imaging system takes a series of pictures under different colors of light, but the goal is not to see the light that falls on the object, but the light that it emits in response to that external light. What we do is shine a light on the object and watch the response. The camera reveals information that our eyes cannot perceive, which is fascinating because we can discover things that have been hidden for generations or even centuries. Amazingly, Ken's camera can capture texts that have been eroded by time or deliberately erased from parchment, even those that cannot be opened due to their fragility. Many of these scrolls are thousands of years old, and we cannot simply open them because they would deteriorate, just like the Dead Sea Scrolls. Ken offers to demonstrate how the technology works. He applies the technique to a document so charred that most of the text is illegible. The Nazis burned vast quantities of documents, but with this method we can recover partially incinerated texts. When the light is emitted, the shutter of the scroll, the camera closes, capturing a new image. At the moment, they barely see a faint luminosity, but the camera can capture everything, working perfectly with infrared. From the visible light images that we collect, the computer overlays them, and then a color image of the object appears, revealing what our eyes were looking for. We can also increase the contrast a little, which is essential. This shows how quickly and impressively this technology can achieve. Ancient knowledge that was thought to be completely destroyed can now be recovered before our eyes. According to an ancient prophecy, the time of revelation is approaching, bringing to light all these ancient secrets that we would never understand. And if there are references to extraterrestrials that we had never seen before, this could corroborate what we have been investigating for a long time. In 2018, the Israel Antiquities Authority, which studied the Dead Sea Scrolls, announced that multispectral analysis had revealed writings on a fragment that indicated the existence of a previously unknown manuscript. Once discovered, what will this manuscript reveal? Ancient astronaut theorists infer that there may be numerous lost texts of Enoch that could come to life, texts that have been hidden in places capable of surviving a global cataclysm, such as the Great Flood. The Book of Genesis, between chapters 6 and 9, tells how God was so concerned about the wickedness of the human race that he decided to wipe it out through a great flood that covered the entire earth, leaving only Noah and his family as survivors. God himself commanded Noah to build the ark that would save everyone, for the creatures of earth. The work of Enoch tells a similar story, but with striking differences. One such distinction is that in Enoch's account, the flood wipes out the rebellious angels, while the traditional narrative focuses on the destruction of rebellious and sinful human beings. The God presented in Enoch is very different from the vengeful and evil God who is portrayed in the Book of Genesis. Another crucial difference is that instead of God instructing Noah on how to build the ark, it is the angel Uriel who informs him of the coming flood and discusses the future of humanity after this catastrophic event. This narrative raises the possibility that the version of the flood in the Book of Enoch does not represent divine punishment on man, but rather the intervention of extraterrestrial beings guiding human destiny. Religious scholars believe that both the biblical and Enochian versions are allegories. However, a growing number of archaeologists and historians are convinced that this global cataclysm really happened, especially in Turkey. American explorer David Allen Deal, after years of research, believes that the biblical account of Noah has historical basis and is determined to find the remains of the ark at an altitude of over 8,000 feet, near Mount Ararat, where, according to the Bible, the ark rested on the ruins of an ancient settlement. What he discovered is known as the lost city of Noah or Nashwan, located next to a peculiar geological formation that some believe to be the ark. Moses of Chorene, an ancient Armenian historian, identified Nashwan as the site where Noah landed, marking the first settlement in a post-flood world. Recent archaeological excavations have revealed something fascinating. The region may be home to millions of tombs, as Noah's tomb is believed to be located there. A vast cemetery formed around the city, where people from all over the Middle East in ancient times sought to be buried. Researchers suggest that Nashwan is just one part of a body of evidence supporting the notion of the Great Flood. Based on a wealth of evidence found globally, it is estimated that around 10,800 years before Christ, the Earth was devastated by a cosmic impact that destroyed all visible surface, resulting in a phenomenon we now call nuclear winter, which completely obscured the sun, moon, and stars. There is something called the Uccello horizon, found all over the world, which consists of a layer of black ash, suggesting the occurrence of a colossal fire between 11 and 13,000 years ago. This indicates that an event of extreme proportions occurred during this period. It is possible that this ash layer, found about 15 meters deep, is evidence of a devastating event. According to geology Dr. Robert, this supposed catastrophe and the resulting ash layer suggest a solar flare of great intensity. His analysis indicates that an unprecedented solar flare almost instantly melted the polar ice caps and evaporated the water, resulting not only in a rise in sea levels that flooded the entire coastal zone, but also in torrential rains. From the geological record, it can be inferred that the Book of Enoch contradicts everything we know about the history of life on our planet. Enoch wanted to document an alien intervention on Earth so that it could be discovered by future generations. Ancient astronaut theorists claim this is true and suggest that there are still chapters to be revealed, possibly hidden deep within the pyramid in Cairo, Egypt. On this plateau is the Great Pyramid, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Ancient astronaut theorists believe that this impressive structure may be even older than Egyptologists indicate, who date its construction to about 2,500 years before Christ as the tomb of the pharaoh Khufu. However, records from the 14th century, written by the Islamic historian Ibrahim Almi, claim that the Great Pyramid was built thousands of years before the flood, as described in the Bible and the Book of Enoch. Surprisingly, historical accounts from the Arab world, unknown in the West, claim that the Great Pyramid was built before the flood by a pharaoh named Zrid, who was identified as the same Enoch of Hebrew tradition. Could such a radical idea be true? According to Islamic text, the construction of the pyramids was made possible by the assistance of beings from other dimensions. The historian Almi suggests that the pyramids were built to preserve knowledge passed on to the Egyptians by guardian gods, the Watchers of the Sky. The idea that Enoch built the Great Pyramid using extraterrestrial technology, as unlikely as it may seem, was subjected to rigorous scrutiny in 1837. British archaeologist Colonel Richard Howard used dynamite to access the royal chamber of the Great Pyramid, a place that no one had previously been able to reach. When he reached these upper chambers, he allegedly found a cartouche with hieroglyphs that mentioned the pharaoh Khufu, dating back to approximately 2,500 BC. Because of this, it became the accepted date for the construction of the Great Pyramid. The Colonel's expedition cost a total of $1,300,000, equivalent to $35 million today. Given this cost, he was under great pressure to find something significant that would prove who actually oversaw the construction of the pyramid. However, new evidence has emerged that raises questions about the authenticity of the famous pharaoh's cartouche. Egyptologists claim that during the reign of Khufu, the cartouches were carved vertically, while the one the colonel claimed to have found was horizontal. Furthermore, a mummy has never been found inside the Great Pyramid. Many archaeologists believe they have all the answers, but in reality, there are thousands of unanswered questions, starting with the question of who actually built the Great Pyramid. In March of 2016, a group of researchers at the Great Pyramid of Giza uncovered another mystery. Archaeologists studying the ancient structure using a new technology called mography made a surprising discovery: a mysterious chamber inside the building, as large as the Statue of Liberty. It is always exciting when Egyptologists make new discoveries inside the Great Pyramid or other pyramids, and now they are claiming that there's a 30-meter void inside the pyramid. This new revelation raises a question of whether the pyramids may be much more than simple tombs. I believe that the pyramid in Egypt may house some kind of time capsule, and that when the excavation is complete, mummies that are older than the flood may be found, as well as writings that may shed light on what really happened. Enoch knew that these writings would be discovered by future generations. The time capsule hidden inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, once fully excavated, could reveal concrete evidence that the Book of Enoch documents alien intervention on Earth, and could reveal even deeper truths about human history. Ancient astronaut theorists believe the answer is a resounding yes, and think a closer look at the Bible could indicate exactly what kind of information is about to be uncovered. In chapter 91 of the Book of Enoch, after traveling to the heavenly realm and returning to Earth, Enoch prepares to be taken up into the heavens again. Before he leaves, he gathers his family and shares an alarming prophecy. He summons all of his family, with Methuselah, the eldest of his sons, the figure mentioned in the Bible. Methuselah asks his father, Enoch, if they will ever meet again, and Enoch responds that he will return to this planet, but only after thousands of years have passed, so they will never see each other again. This divine concept of the idea of leaving the earth and returning is echoed in almost all recognized religions. In the Jewish tradition, the prophet Elijah is expected to return before the Messiah, bringing an era of peace and justice that will mark the end of time. In the Christian tradition, the return of Jesus, the Christian Messiah, is awaited. In Islamic culture, it is believed that it will be the Mahdi, the guided one or Messiah, who will return. Thus, everything points to the arrival of a new era, a new relationship with God, and a new way of existence in this world. In the scriptures of the Hindu Puranas, there are accounts of the 10th and final incarnation of the god Vishnu, who will appear at the end of the current time cycle. The prophecies mention a messianic figure who would ride on the clouds of heaven, accompanied by celestial armies, suggesting some kind of vehicle or spaceship. This whole concept of the return of the gods raises the question of who we are really waiting for. It would not be sacred beings, but aliens. Could it be that humanity's most sacred religious traditions have recorded extraterrestrial interventions on Earth? And were the teachings of Enoch intended to prepare humanity for a day when we would open our eyes to a new reality? It is possible that the Book of Enoch has not yet been completed, and when the last chapter is written, it will be clear that this was not a story of angels, but of our alien ancestors. Thank you for following me on this journey through history. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell to receive more biblical stories and teachings. May God's blessings be with you. Comment below what you thought of the story and share your thoughts. Until the next video,